Yes, of course. My name is Nancy Muro, Nancy with the CI. I'm a fronteriza Borderlands artivist here in Tijuana and San Diego, and it's a pleasure to be here and I'm ready to tell my story.
How
So, my background is coming from Mexico. So,
perfect.
I'm a U.S. citizen. I was born in the U.S., but I grew up in Tijuana. And pretty much I was a dreamer, but in Tijuana, I had to ask for permission to go to school. So my education, I struggle a lot also in elementary and middle school. But you know what? I have a great grandma who, like, you know what I mean? Like, the professors always call on me and supposedly was failing classes, and my grandma, but she passed. And like, yes, she passed, but she can do better. And like, yes, I know she can do better, but as long as she passed, next time she's gonna get her grade. So I have a grandma who was really supported, that if I got a like a D, it was passing for her. It was the best because she never had education. So
Yeah.
so when I make the decision, like my family, they didn't want me to move to the US and start my education here. I had to go back and forth sometimes because grandma still live in Tijuana.
Uh-huh.
So I start my education here in high school.
Okay. So most of your education, your younger education, that was in Tijuana.
It was, yes, it was in Tijuana, and like I mentioned, I'm an artivist, artivista with art and activist. But you know what? I never had in my younger years, I never had um access to the arts because in Tijuana sometimes access to resources are limited, so my grandma was not afforded to pay me for go to art classes or buy me materials, but
Yeah.
I can tell you more about that.
So how was school in Tijuana? How was school when you were young?
You know what? I had so much support. We didn't know that I had to ask for permission to go to school. So I guess the director of the elementary school when I was at, he was doing the permission. He need to go to like the government building every year and get a stamp, and they charge you like $2. And we didn't know that we had to do this, but because her daughter was my best friend, he was doing it. So when I start going to secundaria, that's mean middle school,
Uh-huh.
and I think is when we realized that we had to do it ourselves. So the education was great, but in Mexico, you the first date that you had to do an exam. So every time that exam that I had to take it, because in Mexico schools is for free, they asked me to leave the classroom, and I was not sure why until they discovered, oh, she's a U citizen, but she have the permissions. And then at the end of the day, I never like did that test. But I think the education in Mexico is good. Um,
Mhm.
I have great experience, also great professors.
That's good. And then you said that after middle school you did high school in America and San Diego, I'm figuring.
Yes, yes, Montgomery High School Aztecs. Yes. So as a bilingual student, like ELD classes, you don't really, they don't really, you don't, they just put you in ELD classes. You
Yeah.
don't have other opportunities. You don't have opportunities to the art. So I guess my English was a little better because, in Mexico, they taught me English. You know what I mean? Like a little. So I was a little advanced. So I didn't know a lot of what's going on in Montgomery when I was here, but I had two great mentors for Mecha, Movimiento Estudiantil Chicano Stan. So I guess they were fighting for me to move from ELD 1 to ELD 7, 8, or 5, 6, because they noticed that my English was much better than the other students. But I didn't know there was a battle because I guess they don't want the system. They don't want you to move on in ELD classes either.
Yeah.
um I was surprised, like later on through the years I discovered. So like again, I have professors who support me, love me, and protect me without me knowing. So in high school, the AP classes, especially in math, I was really advanced in math. They didn't want me to take AP classes because I was a ELD student.
Hmm.
So what happened? The way they did it, I started being a student aide in some of those classes. But instead of being student aide, I was doing the class like normal, like if I was taking it. So
Yeah.
they noticed that I was comprehending everything. So the next semester they allowed me to take the AP classes. So imagine a ELT classes learning English, and then at the same time taking AP math classes. They were like kind of confused and surprised. But some students we do comprehend, and the more they put us in those places, the more we learn. So little by little, it's like things just start moving, and then when I was, and also I started being more involved in school, and I remember going to the ASB, and my MECHA professors helped me with the interview. So it was challenge, but at the same time, like again, those professors who like all you guess they when they're talking about how they are in schools, they remember I mean in maestros. Like wow, like you know what I mean? Like those professors the ones I had. And I cry some of the interviews that I see of your guests because like I make me
Yeah.
good memories.
Yeah. And when you were in high school, did you have any teachers that stood out? Like, this is a really good teacher. Do you have
Yes.
any? Yeah. Can you
Yeah.
mention any of them?
Yes. I think she got remarried, so it's Arellano,
Hmm.
Salcedo, Montgomery High School. Also Mis Angeles, Montgomery High School. The I remember at that time you had to pass a test, a writing test, and that was hard for me to pass it. The assistant director like make a big deal when I passed it. Miss Birkin, who passed away, I think so because she had cancer. The other professors are Miss Daisy. It was surprised because I was not passing the test. So in my lunch break, she used to call me overhead, like Nancy Muro, please report to whatever room, and she was make me practice every lunch until I passed this test because she wanted me to pass it. At the beginning I was like frustrated, like I want to be with my friends, but she was doing something good for me. She was like, hey, no, you need to pass the test, you're a good student, you need to pass it. So all those professors make the difference for me in high school and teach me and correct me my English. So I it's nice to remember them. And you
Yeah.
know what, also students who were more advanced in English, also students there, they were really helpful as well.
And how did you get involved? Did you get involved in art in high school as well?
No, you know what? No, when you LD students, it's really hard to be involved in those classes. They just want you to advance in ELD and take all the other classes. I guess when I think I start getting regular classes in English in my senior year, so
Yeah.
it was not much time for me to be getting involved in art. And I think during that time there was not much art in my high school as well.
Yeah. And then so you graduate high school and you go to community college, you said.
Yes, here same San Diego Community College was a game changer for me.
Yeah.
Because it's when I started like involving in photography.
Yeah.
Photography was the open door for me. Like I still remember going to the dark room. Wow, it's like I can go back and I remember my professors in community college. I don't remember the names, but like some of like the photographers one, yes. But let me tell you something. I didn't really take Chicano studies or Mexican American histories, but I remember taking one class and my English was really like broken. I have like more the accent and my writing was a little improvement. Like I was in this Chicano studies and I was always sitting on the front because I just want to pass the class and move on. So this professor in my final, he provided me this booklet. Do you have to write like a in the booklet, like those,
Essays or
yes, it's a blue ones. Like
yeah,
no
the blue,
20.
little small blue book. Yeah.
Yes. So oh sorry, I start getting
A runny
because I
nose. It's
cried.
okay.
Yes. Let me get a piece of
Yeah.
paper.
Go
Oh,
ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead and get it. Take care of it.
okay. Give me 1 second.
Yes. No problem.
How do I okay. Give me 1 second, okay?
Okay. Yeah.
You make me cry. That's the reason I'm getting the runny nose. Give me 1 second. Okay, I think I'm good.
All right.
So, so that professor, I opened the first page of that little booklet, and he wrote to me, Nancy. If you want to write your final in Spanish, do it. I'm okay
Mhm.
with that. Imagine yourself, like I start
Yeah,
crying.
yeah,
And he was a top professor. And I was like, whoa. And for me it was like there's professor who cares about their students.
yeah, yeah. So you got a chance to write it all in Spanish in your own language, and you felt so comfortable doing it.
I think I start I don't know if you're familiar with Gloria Sandua. I think I went back and forth with English and Spanish.
Uh,
So stuff that I was able to write in English, I did it, but some stuff I wrote in Spanish.
yeah,
Mix the language, but those professors really make the difference for me. In the professors in photography, I I was like 22, 23. I thought I was the best photographer ever. Oh my goodness. But you know what I mean? Like, you're not good. You're just learning. And but they encourage you. They never, like, they say to
yeah,
you, you're not good. You know what I mean? Like, they just teach you, redo it. Oh, improve it. You can do better. Like the message that my grandma would say, you can do better next time.
yeah,
And those really, and then you know what? A lot of people, they don't really talk about, but community college have more resources in higher education.
yeah, yeah. I would say so too. I went to community college myself. I went to over here. It's called Los Angeles City College. I was a terrible high school student, and my only option was to go to community college. And I went to community college. I got financial aid, and there was a lot of resources, and community college helped me find my way. They
Yeah.
showed me the right way. I didn't know what classes to take. I didn't know what I was doing, and I was steered in the right direction. And I was
Yes.
lost. I was lost in community college, and I can imagine. I didn't have a language barrier, but I could imagine if you, like, for instance, you who said your English was broke, and it's probably a lot more difficult for you to navigate through the whole system and try to figure things out on your own. Um, I don't know if you had family that graduated from college, but I had no family that graduated from college. So, when I was in there, I had nobody to help me or guide me, saying like, "Hey, you got to do these things. You should do these." I had nobody, and so that made it a little more difficult. But how about you? Did you have family members that graduated from college?
No,
Yeah,
no. I think I'm the first one getting my master's, but I think I'm the one who went to community college first.
yeah,
And you're right. And then, like, if hopefully a lot of students or a lot of people are watching this video or will watch this video, and to encourage them that community college, don't be ashamed of going to community college. Sometimes it's the best years of
yeah,
education, because the
yeah,
professors, they really care for the students. They protect their students. They shine you. They let you be you.
yeah, yeah. I mean, and financially, it's a better decision. Financially, going to community college is a better decision if you do your 2 years or 3 years or however long it takes you. You do your time, but it's no, like, if you went to like a big university, it's so expensive to go to a big university now.
And especially when you're not sure what you want to be, because before being me an artist, supposedly I want to be a social worker, teacher, so many other careers, and I was not really sure. And then the way they like navigate to classes, and then also manage, like, they teach you how to manage your classes. You're like, okay, I remember like trying to get so hard classes, and like, no, 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 let's
Yeah,
balance, Nancy. Let's make sure we do like one reading, one math, like 2 hours, because
yeah,
you can focus. You know what I mean? Like, and sometimes education, they just want you to bring you in bolita, you know what I mean, like all at
mhm,
the same time. But many of us, we learn so different ways. So community college for me, I believe that my education, high school and also in Mexico, I had great professors. Of course, sometimes there was like things that, like, oh my goodness, what is this? But I was a grandma who was not a scholar, but she always believed in education, and she always said to me, Nancy, tienes que ir a la escuela para que sepas leer y escribir y no te hagan tonta. So you
mhm.
have to go to school, so they don't fool you. You need to know how to read and write, because sometimes when you don't know, they just ask you to write there. and you don't know what are you writing, and that way you know what are you writing, and we know those type of situation happen with a lot
Mhm.
of or gente. So
Mhm.
so my grandma, she was smart.
Yeah. How many years did you spend in community college?
I because I was just taking one class at a time because I was
Um,
raising my sister and working full time. It took me at least 8 years,
eight
I
years,
guess.
yeah. Yeah, it took me 3 years. I was going full time, and I still like I had to take all of the remedial classes. So all the classes before you actually took like English 101 or Math 101. I
Yes.
had to take all those below classes, and then I was able to take the regular classes. But it took me 3 years going full time. I was at that time I was I had kids already. I was married already. Um, but it was a struggle to get through just community college, and but I got through it, and then I finally went to Cal State LA.
Oh,
So yeah,
nice.
I went to Cal State LA, transferred Cal State LA, and that's that was pretty good for me too. That was a good experience. And you said you went to was it Arizona State University?
No, no, I went to, so I took me like 8 years because I was taking one class at a time. But you know what? I have like a five associate's degree, gender
Yeah.
studies, social worker, teaching. I have so many associate. And so I remember one professor like, hey, like this professor in photography, like start giving a presentation that photography you can continue in higher education, that this is where the schools that we can go, and like here's the PDF, but now but for more information needs to talk to your counselor. So I went and talked to a counselor, and like the counselor, Nancy, you're ready to fly, we don't want you here, it's time to move the nest. I was like, okay, I guess I was comfortable at the community college. And then I applied to like four universities. I was accepted at three. So I went to San Jose State
Ah,
University.
okay. San Jose State. How was that?
It was great, but uh it was hard. I was sick from home.
Yeah.
Like when people would start mentioning like, no, you're sick from home, like I didn't understand. A lot of people, they don't really speak Spanish. Like I mean,
Hmm.
like those years I was just speaking English and English and speaking English. I was like, and they're like, pues, I live at the frontera. Imagine you go back and forth. Hey, vamos a comer. I don't think you know me. Like, you throw your Spanish there,
Yeah.
like with your family. There's a lot of going on in San Jose. I was culture shocked too because like the dreaming students, I didn't know about that. You mean like um I have great professors, but it's hard to find professors who can reflect you.
Yeah.
Not a lot of wipes, perfect. Like nothing wrong with that, but like I do you want to see your kind, and it's hard.
Yeah. Yeah. And do you feel like you stood out? Do you feel like you stood?
I did,
Yeah.
but the conversations, like the topics I wanted to talk about it, they're not interesting. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
oh, they don't feel like they say like thank you for sharing, but it's not moving because they mentioned to me like we don't know because we're not there or never like be there or something like that. But I I really I struggle a little bit. I
Hmm.
struggle. I was homeless the first month.
Oh.
Like in my first, I was homeless. I was living in my car. I was not familiar with really the like the Silicon Valley. You mean it's difficult.
Hmm.
So when they start telling you, "Oh, work at Facebook or Amazon," is something you like. I just because I'm in San Diego, just see it on like at that time. Like it's just something you see in the internet.
Yeah.
But moving down there is really expensive. The life is fast. A lot of students struggle. They don't really I think a lot of students just the activists start in the university when my activists started in high school.
Yeah.
Mecha really opened the eyes for me in many directions. So I saw that. I was able to their families work a lot, so I was able to learn. They didn't have like a lot of the feeling of community sometimes because their parents had to work like two or three jobs.
Yeah.
But when it's come to professors, also when you have an university that are not funded, I think that's another issue that you have to encounter. You know what I mean? Like I remember here, like I was spoiled at community college having three computer labs with 25 computers in each room, and you just go in and during the lab hours, and you said you don't have to worry to do homework if you don't have a computer. So I was shocking for me that my first semester, like the first 2 weeks I'm getting there, like I'm asking for what is the computer lab? You mean like thinking the same time community college, and everybody look at me like, what are you talking about? Like we don't have a
Yeah.
computer lab. Like what do you mean you have a computer? Well, I don't have a computer. Well, you have to buy your own laptop.
Yeah.
And I was
Yeah.
like, whoa. You know what I mean? Like when I was
Yeah.
like used to have all this, so all those like it's like you're saying it's really expensive, and then you have to get loans to pay.
Yeah.
So my loans from an undergrad just to pay rent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, the professors were kind of surprised because it was really open to my activists. So they were really supportive. But you know what? Not the faculty ones, the adjuncts, the way they call in the adjuncts or the lectures. So
Hmm.
the bureaucracy, you start seeing more of the bureaucracy because, like, to me, they're all professors and they're good, but they're like, no, just a faculty. And like, you're like, okay, what is
Yeah.
the difference? And you start learning from all them, like, okay, I just need help. I just want to go through, like, can she be my advisor because she's helping me more than my faculty? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they don't like those decisions. When you're a student who make those decisions, like, no, you know what, the lecture, the one you're calling adjunct, is helping me more than my faculty because my faculty is an artist and they're so worried about doing her research and career, they're not paying attention to me.
Yeah.
So when you start like challenging the system, like, hey, I want her to be my advisor, they don't like it.
Yeah.
They like, but you know what? But my all my professor from high school through community college, they they value my voice and they like you need to speak up for your voice. You need to speak and when you go those places and you have like professors who are supported and to support like professors that just go and teach in peace and love, you know what I mean? Like they don't care about the student. It's a game change.
Yeah. Do you feel like they connected with you at all?
They feel connected, but until when they start seeing my work, pretty much I had to prove myself, and
Mm.
it's something that is not good.
Mm.
I had to prove myself in order for them to pay attention. There were a few ones that really, without me proving, they start like recognizing my work. So I remember this professor. She like it was the hard class ever, my first class ever, in hard in undergrad history, art
Mm.
history, and I hated it. I was like, oh my goodness, the reading, the writing. So, and this professor noticed I was doing my best to pass it. And then she mentioned, Nancy, there's this program, A Coffee with the Professor. Do you want to do a coffee with me? And I was like, and I just look at her like, okay, I will let you know. And then she sent me the information and I get the card and I went and get the coffee with her and she start open like I thought she was gonna be like the one I will hate it the most and she start
Yeah.
open to me. She like like those kind of programs, like she was like, here's the coffee, we talk and she give me a lot of support.
It's
And
good.
then I was failing that class. She just passed me. She just gave me a C mass, a C plus because I was failing that class. Like
Yeah.
usually, like, but she saw my dedication. So sometimes we have to give the opportunity to the professions as well. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I have great experience. I love it. I did so much projects. I'm happy that I went to higher education. And you know what? We need to encourage our students to go higher education because it's gonna be economically better for them, and then we able to help the next generation.
Yeah.
Because all my professor been saying, you don't need to pay to us, you need to pay forward,
That's right. Hmm.
and I'm excited.
Yeah. And how did you get like? So you have a whole photography thing going on. How did you get involved in that?
So community college, it was like the open eyes, and I got my associate. I remember having my solo show at a community college, and it was full photography. I was so proud of my photos, and I see
Mm.
them right now. Like They're like bad photos. And I was like, so for like, I worked for a company for 12 years, and I was raising my sister. My parents passed away when I was younger, and then my grandma passed away. So it was like, those experiences in life that you don't ask, but just happen, and you don't.
Mhm.
It's hard darle la culpa a alguien. It's hard to like blame to somebody else. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So finally I decide and I apply, and I've been doing photography for more than 20 years, and documentary photography, fine art photography, and I think photography opened my eyes, especially when you struggle with the English. You know what I mean? Like, that's a way. It's another language.
Mhm.
You speak had to write and speak with light
Mhm.
instead of with words or writing. So for me, it was like an open door in many ways. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, be more confident with me speaking English and thinking in English. I think photography, when you're learning English, they teach you think in English, don't think in Spanish, because, well, what happened or mine, we want to translate everything. And I think photography opened that door. And also, unfortunately, we don't encourage a lot of our students to take art.
No. No, it's just math and English. Math and reading and writing. That's it.
And then art is really important because we are visual. Color art can teach us to think about it, to be creative, to create projects. So, and also I was really disencouraged. Especially like our culture. If you're not a doctor, lawyer, or those careers, it mean nothing.
Yeah. So I saw like you had a little art show on your social media. Like
Yes.
how did that happen?
So here's like I've been saying, I have great professors through all my years, but dun, 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 I applied to do my master's, and everything was great applying. And you know what? One of the professors from Chicano study, Jonathan Gomez, from San Jose State. He's not an artist. He's the one who helped me with all the writing and all the paper, because he was like checking my writing, my make sure that I submit a good essay. And also I have another friend. His name is Francisco. That he's younger than me. He also really supported. And then I remember, they like you're saying, you don't have nobody in your family who went through this process, so you had to
Yeah.
do an interview. You had to do an interview before be accepted at the program. And I remember, like, Professor Gomez, Dr. Gomez, like, they sent me a interview for this program, but I don't know what they're gonna ask me. Like, I don't know nothing. And he connected me with somebody who's in the arts, Dr. JB, and he prepared me for the interview.
Wow.
Like, he prepared me for the interview. Like, people that I don't know, okay? Like, JB, I don't know him, but Professor Gomez, never, nunca I took a class with him, but I do have activities, and he helped me. And I was like, okay, we're doing good. And then, like, I did my interview and passed it. So I already have, like, things about the system. They're not for us. It's not creative for us. And, like, all those things in my mind. But I have this professor who, she make me feel in love again with the system, feel
Yeah.
in love with the system. But she was also a lecturer. She was a junk,
Yeah.
and she got her own issues with the university. They treat her bad. When she was creating an environment to love, that we should love the space that we're there to study, to improve. The first year was beautiful because this professor, and she was like Blanquita, but she was amazing. But later on, they hire somebody like todo lo contrario, all the opposite. And it's when everything started. You know what I mean? I saw one of another woman, a Chinese background. She left the program after she was there 2 months there,
Yeah.
because there was no support. There was no encourage. And to be honest, we were like the stuff, when sometimes students were asking, we're asking for support. We're not asking for $1 million equipment. We're asking for just a little water, to trust us, to encourage. That's what we're asking. but they don't want that. They don't want to give up freedom. They're not there to teach us freedom. They're teaching to obey, and that's a lot of issue. So instead of me, I was like, I'm an older, like, you know what, I'm not gonna play their game. You're not gonna teach me. You're not gonna allow me what I need. I'm gonna do my own blueprint. And I'm getting my master's in fine art, and this exhibition is a solo exhibition. It's my thesis. Is the way, like, your project. You find a
Yeah.
project, you have to do it in order to pass and get your diploma. If you don't do it, you don't get it. So that solo exhibition had to be happen inside the university.
Mm.
But you know what? Like, I said, no, you didn't support me. I'm gonna do it outside, and I did it outside. I did at this beautiful place called the Front,
Mm-hmm.
Arte y Cultura in San Isidro, and they pretty much took their job, pretty much did their job with the university. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I had to submit proposals in order to be accepted. I did so much. But imagine you're like, you're a student of color. English is your second language, and sometimes you still struggle. Like sometimes I don't know how to say sourdough. You know what I mean? Like how do you say it? And I ask, you know what I mean? And this professor who's light on the you green eyes, and she comes and say to you, "I'm an immigrant. I English is my second language as well." And you're like, I'm not complaining about your status, or I'm not complaining if you're like, I'm complaining about the way you're creating a toxic environment. You're not creating an environment for students. And also, the system is different because you have to do independent studies, and she's like, and this is funny because I asked her before make doing independent studies with her. I emailed her politely and asked her if I can do independent studies. I know she's new and she's saying no to me, that I understand that she's coming to the school, welcome. And like later on, like 3 months or 4 months, she's like, do you know what? I don't get paid to do independent studies with you. And you're
Mm-hmm.
like, wait, like what's going on?
Yeah.
So I'm interdisciplinary. So I'm an artist. I use photography, illustration, ceramic, but I need to improve in my ceramic. Ceramic is a media that I need to, I want to be a master, like to able to show beautiful. So, but I need to be better. So pretty much they say to me, no, we're not gonna allow you to do ceramics because you don't have the skills. And I was like, so I don't have the skills. Do you have the like the skills to teach me? You know what I mean? Like you're skilled for to teach. We
Yeah.
don't have room for you in ceramics. So it was everything. They start creating policies to deny me stuff. They send me a contract to me to sign on. Like
Wow.
say no, like a bunch of stuff. And I said, I'm not gonna sign this. You know what I mean? Like I'm not signing this.
Yeah.
You're lied to us. You're saying that you're interdisciplinary program. You're not. So I went right and left and complained. I'm not gonna say complain. I'm gonna say raise my concerns. We had to code switch. I don't know if you
Mm.
had done that. Like, you know what I mean? Instead of complaining, we had to code switch.
Raise our concerns. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
Instead of complaining. So I went right and left, and pretty much they sent me an email like, whatever you say you do, we're just gonna give you the cold shoulder.
Wow.
And so I discrimination. So they did a process to in the summer to get access in ceramics. They sent it to 3 students only. When they knew that I was asking for access, they didn't send me the information. I find out and I start email everybody, hey, you're just sending the information to 3 students when I've been asking for a year. That's not okay. Like I was raising my voice. I was like, and you know what
Yeah.
happened? I believe that I think some legal stuff happened. I believe the school thinks I'm like I have a lawyer who was advising me, but I don't have a lawyer. It was just everything from the computer
Yeah.
and by reading. Like, and I did some like I
Yeah.
request some information. I think that got scary, and that I think that's the reason they everything went like this way. And when you're in, and this is my advice to professors and to teachers, I know teaching is hard and sometimes you don't have the money, but when you sign in for this position, you're there to serve students.
Yeah.
And there's a choice. You have a choice. Professors have a choice. You know what I mean? And you, I understand many of the art departments and programs, their professors are artists, but you have a service to do, and please don't discourage your students.
Yeah.
Make sure that you're there to protect them. And because, like professors like you, they're big working so hard for us to get to this position in life. For some of them, a lot of, if we look the facts and numbers, how many people are dropping their master program, their undergrad,
Mm.
because they don't feel they belong to these places.
Yeah.
And that's the reason I want to speak up, because I want to encourage them. I don't know if you're familiar with bell hooks. You know what I mean? Like there's so many writers and scholars. They went through the same. We're not the first and the last one, but we need to protect our youth, and we need to tell them they belong to those places. They are part of those programs, and they can do it.
That's good. That's good. Um, I work in education, and there's a lot of times there's students that come from different countries that come to the school. I worked at a high school, and new coming students who don't speak the language that, just enter the country, and here they are thrown in high school. What advice would you give those young girls, those young men who are in a program like that and they're struggling? What would you tell them? You're the counselor now. What would you tell them?
Don't give up. You know what I mean? Like, um, if somebody, like my case, if I know how to speak and write English, is because I practice every day. You know what I mean? Like go to classes. Sometimes you're gonna get disencouraged and like, oh my goodness, I want to be there. But the more you do it, the more you practice, one step at a time, one step at a time. You know what I mean? Like, don't look. Sometimes the professors or the counselor, they show you the map and you see it, you get overwhelmed. Just like, what is the next step? You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like, and then what is the next step? You know, there's a lot of professors and counselors who believe in you, and then please make sure you become good friends of them. You know what I mean? So they can support you, and they're gonna open opportunities for you. They're gonna think about you, because I have professors who, Nancy, there's a scholarship, I can help you. I remember, I'm gonna cry. I remember that I won a scholarship in high school, and my grandma was not able to come, and I didn't have a car. And this counselor, I will take you. And me llevó, ella me llevó a the scholarship. So you just have to do your best.
Yeah,
And 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 then when those professionals encourage you, make sure you go with the ones who are gonna give you a agüita, and they're gonna support you, and they're gonna make you forget that bad experience. Not all professors are bad.
that's good. That's good advice. Well, Nancy, thank you so much for being on the podcast and sharing your story and giving your advice. Greatly appreciate that. Um, and thank you for your time being on the podcast. Greatly appreciate that.
No, thank you for what you do, and hopefully other professors and teachers like you see this, and they don't give up as well, and continue to support our students, because they're their future.
Absolutely. Thank you.